It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Hope you had a fabulous week, everybody. We have apparently some new viewers here on the channel, and over the past couple of weeks I've gotten several questions about these videos. The Saturday night special, how come I don't show myself? How come I have gloves on? And I thought we could just reiterate these things, these points for some of the new folk here. I do show myself on many videos here on the YouTube channel, and I don't always wear gloves. Here on the Saturday night special, I try to make it about specific topics, rock-related, mineral-related subjects, and it's not necessarily about me, the person, sticking my face in front of the camera. It is also, in my opinion, quite gross to show naked hands up close in HD, especially if you're watching on a television. Okay? It's icky. It's icky. I don't like seeing giant, huge fingers on a screen and stuff like that. Thus, I have the safety mitts on, the gloves, okay? So, there you go. There you go. Saturday night special started a couple of years ago when I was like, well, maybe we'll just, there's all these little subjects about pertaining to rocks and minerals in which it does not require a complete video, and thus this was born. So, we will jump right into this week's episode. So, I am a firm believer that going out and doing something like rockhounding with your significant other, whether it be your husband, your wife, or even just your kids, that's not really right to call them significant others, but like your loved ones, the people you care about. It is good to get outside and do stuff. And this past week, me and Sarah were doing just that. Of course, Sarah found this super sweet Columbia Basin agate, which is very beautiful, and she always beats me at this. What can I say? She does far better when it comes to rockhounding, where it's like looking for something with your eyeballs, like scanning the ground. I do far better when it comes to digging and breaking rock. So between the two of us, I think we make for a pretty good pair. I highly recommend this as an activity to do with people that you care about. It builds memories. I always say, you will remember the trips that you take years down the line. You'll take photos. It will be a lasting memory sitting on your shelf, sitting around your house. Watching a television show with that same person is not memorable. You're not going to take any photos doing it, and you should try to minimize those levels of interactions in favor of better interactions that will build those memories, which will make a happier life. Speaking of a happier life, there's 2 new trip reports listed up on the website. For those of you who haven't checked out the website, there's a lot of new stuff going on over there. It's pretty great. A couple of new trip reports from Central Oregon, which is something that we do when, it's not... I don't have good angles necessarily to craft videos around subjects, but it's still interesting, and we do a little write-up, we take photos, that type of good stuff, as well as the newsletter on the website. So currently rockhounding.com will take you over there, and you should definitely check it out. So, all right. Well, man, where to start here? Where to start? So, if you're watching this, you are a living human being, just like me. And that means at some point you're going to die. And I've been thinking about, maybe for the past year or so, what am I doing here? Why am I picking up these things? Do they have any meaning? Do they have any real value? I've been asking myself some hard questions. I don't want to be in a bad position years down the line. Now, what I'm talking about is the curation of these rocks and minerals that we pick up. Far too often, people get hung up on the picking up of stuff, and I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty, you know. I like going out and the adventure and bringing stuff home, and problem comes, then what? Then what? Okay, are you able to recognize these 4 rocks back there? What are they? Where did they come from? Do they have any type of scientific value, financial value, or personal value to anybody but myself? Any takers? Any takers? Well, we have a piece of petrified wood from Hollywood Ranch. That's in like central, I guess like along the I-5 corridor in Oregon, and you know, it's like down by Eugene in the bottom of the Willamette Valley. Okay, not exactly a super amazing, financially valuable specimen, although that came from one of the first places that me and Sarah ever went rockhounding at, like a legit kind of like more real rockhounding experience. So for me, it means a lot. Right here we have this big, chunky, kind of weird opal thing that came from China Hollow mine in Oregon. I'm not going to pick that up because that rock weighs like 30 pounds. This is a piece of magnetite from southern Utah that I collected, and it has magnetite crystals. And then over here we have a Lucky Strike Thunder Egg cut and polished from Oregon, from the Lucky Strike mine. These are big. They take up a bunch of space. And these 4 aren't so much a burden. But what happens when you have bins of them? Then it's kind of a burden. Like, are you going to how can do I display them? Are they worth displaying? You know, it starts to become a problem of what I do with all of this stuff. So I've been really high grading the collection and trying to produce a more curated assortment of things in the house. So all of my display cabinet size pieces that are special to me are on cataloged. If I die or just forget, it's just a rock. It's just a rock. They're just rocks. You know, maybe I'm a little fortunate here that I have videos of almost everything. So, you know, I can always cross-reference. I can go back in time. I can find stuff in my own video library. That's not exactly doable, but for everyone. And it's just not practical. So then comes cataloging. Now, some of my stuff is very properly cataloged so that I can reference it later. I can find it. I know what's up. And I'm going to show you a couple of things because I think a lot of people haven't thought about this. Now, one of the ways that I learn things is through Zoom meetings. Nothing I've ever talked about here. The majority of people that collect rocks and minerals are older, let's say 50 to 80. 50 to 80, that's where the majority of our knowledge base is. And a lot of these people have, or, you know, royal societies, different mineralogical groups, and do Zoom meetings, and they record them, they put them on YouTube, and all that stuff. You can participate, you can listen, just whatever. A wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge is located there, and I'm trying to learn what I can as we continue on. And as we talk about this curation of collection and what to do with it when you die, or to make it easy, I think you got to have stuff properly labeled. You know, we want to avoid collections of rocks going into the trash, which is a thing. It's sad. It's sad to hear somebody's life of collecting the things that are valuable to them get thrown in a bin and taken to Goodwill, put in trash cans. It happens. It's documented that it's happened. It's sad. It's sad. Like, I care about these things. I don't want them going into the trash though. So I need labels for all of my stuff. Some of the things are easy to label, and I have these jars, and I label them, and I put the GPS where it came from and it's collected at, and they go on a built-in shelf and they stack up and they're nice and it makes for a nice backdrop and a big built-in in my house. And yeah, I think that's a good first step, is cataloging and organizing. Now, a lot of people have different plans, and I've looked into some of these. So people will be like, well, it doesn't matter. When I'm gone, I'm gone. Who cares? Well, I mean, you're kind of leaving a mess then for somebody, which that's not nice. I don't want to leave a mess. I mean, if I kick the bucket before Sarah, I don't want to leave her with a bunch of stuff that she's like, wait, where did we get this? I want to, catalog it. The selling of specimens, if you don't have proper documentation, you're never going to get what you could get. It's not going to happen, especially with mineral specimens. It's even more and more important to have that kind of provenance to it. And that goes for everything. That goes for all the stuff, your amazing collection of mineral books, your whatever it is. You should have some level of documentation, provenance to it if you really care about it, which I really care about it. The other thing I've heard a lot is donating it to a museum. Basically, no museums want this stuff. I know that people will be like, I don't disagree, but if you haven't set something in motion and have proper documentation, like you can't just drive to a museum with boxes of stuff and be like, here you go. They don't have this space. Oftentimes they don't have curators that care about rocks and minerals. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. I don't have all the answers here, but I will say these big rocks, I'm trying to limit the number of big rocks that I have in exchange for little rocks. Now I'm going to show you some of my very well curated, right here, God, that reflection's the worst, isn't it? How about that? Okay, right here we have a tray of micro mounts of minerals that are very, very tiny and very, very perfect. Now, for some people, they're like, little things, that's not very important. I don't like that. I want big things. Well, God, that glare. If you were to take this whole tray of specimens and scale them up to, let's say, baseball size or cantaloupe size, that size, how many good, you're talking about sometimes unobtainium for the average person. Also, how much space is that taking up in your house? Is that worth it? 10 trays of this takes up a space a little bit bigger than a square foot, because it's like 10 by 16 tray, and I have 10 of them. I can put 1,600 little specimens. And now, when it comes to the collection of finer minerals, a thing to point out is we have 6,300-ish minerals that you could potentially collect, many of which don't get much bigger than that. So if you want to have like an extensive collection, you're kind of starting to be like, well, you're going to start looking at smaller things. Next up, I have my collection of thumbnails, and this is not all of them, but this is some of them, and we'll look at these here, and I will show you kind of the documentation that goes along with these things, because it's important to have them well documented. So if you saw that in a bin, could you identify what that is? Some people maybe, the majority no. So the label card here is very important, and it is Parasite with Annabergite from the Snowbird mine. There's a GPS, and it comes from my collection. Ideally, I would have this for every single thing that goes into the house, and I think that's kind of important. That's kind of important. Okay, so the micros are somewhat similar in that we have a specimen that has been mounted for viewing under the microscope. It has my catalog number, the collection, the year, the GPS, and the general locality. So it's easy to organize. A collection like these here have far greater value to the scientific community, to a museum, to a school, whatever, than big stuff, because let's be honest, you're not having giant things that are this quality. You're just not without spending a ton of money. And like many people, I don't have tons of money. I'm relegated to driving and self-collecting. I just don't want this stuff to be a burden. I want to see it continue on beyond me. So it's something to factor in what you're doing. I hope you found this to be valuable. I'm still learning myself. I'm still trying to figure this out as I go along here. And hopefully I'll be able to report back at a later date and show my collection again. It's been about 2 years, and I'm trying to get better with my cases in the house and have everything neat and organized and labeled and all the good stuff, So, well, if you have a great, well-curated collection, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this down below. I think there's a lot to be learned from looking at what other people have been doing. So, that. Well, what do I do with these? What do I do with these, people? This big, weird, chunky opal thing, I mean, it's neat. I'm tempted to, like, take the, I guess, bubbly parts, which I actually think is pieces of chalcedony and not opal, and bust them off and mount them in boxes, and then maybe slice it to see what's going on the inside, but most likely what's going on the inside is more of what you see on the outside. So thoughts on that? Do I try to just preserve some of the cool bits like that and ditch the rest? Yeah, I'm not sure. That still has yet to be determined. And this coming week, right? I have something very, very cool to show you and share with you. I think it'll be pretty good. Well, hope you guys had a great week. Take care. It's becoming summer now, and me and Sarah are getting out and doing lots and lots of trips. Feels amazing. And check out the website, currently rockhounding.com, and I'll catch you in the next video.